The scene shifted to the patriarch's opulent manor, revealing a lavish room with the patriarch seated upon his ornate chair. Suddenly a spy materialized out of thin air, reporting that young Master Deso had smuggled out another vase that day. A sinister gleam flickered in the patriarch's eyes, piquing his interest in this unexpected turn of events. Deso, now slightly older, stood on the final day at the place he had called home. 8 years had passed, and it was time to bid farewell to the house. He felt a sense of rejuvenation, knowing that he had successfully smuggled out the majority of the valuable paintings and vases from the premises. With his brothers and father engrossed in their ceaseless training, he anticipated their obliviousness to his actions. According to his prior knowledge, his eldest brother should have reached the level of a master by now, while his second and third brothers would be first-rate martial artists. In his previous life, he would have worked tirelessly to catch up, but this time, his hands remained unmarred by the toil of training. He had never undergone even the slightest bit of training in this life. As the time for their arrival approached, Deso's attention turned to the Crimson Blood Troop. They bowed and greeted him, their movements precise and disciplined. Their presence was no mere jest. The man before him, the troop's captain, possessed martial prowess equivalent to that of a Grand Master, or an elder of a prestigious martial school. Leading Deso, the captain guided him toward his family, preparing him to enter the proverbial tiger's den. During the carriage ride, Deso reflected on the captain's words regarding his healthy upbringing despite the council withdrawing their support. The captain attributed this to the heavens favoring him. Curiosity piqued, Deso politely inquired about the captain's statement, which led to the captain vowing to protect him with his life, pleased with Deso's positive attitude. Deso had always believed that the Crimson Fortress's antiquated mindset was their biggest issue. Although taken aback by the revelation of the severed support, Deso had witnessed more support in the last 5 years than in his previous life. He trusted the captain's words, even though he struggled to reconcile them with his personal experiences. Finally, they arrived. Behind the closed door stood the descendants of the clan, gathered to judge Deso's worth. He knew their intention was not to warmly welcome him. Rather, they sought to evaluate his qualities. Deso understood the significance of first impressions, aiming to make a fool of himself to propagate the rumor that he lacked martial arts talent. He believed his plan was foolproof. As the door swung open, Deso was taken aback to find the patriarch himself standing right in front of him, ready to greet him. The surprise stemmed from his previous life, where he had been consumed by training and had even missed his brother's welcome day. The captain exchanged pleasantries with the patriarch and was subsequently dismissed, leaving Deso contemplating whether it would be possible to greet his father. Yet in the presence of his father's menacing aura, Deso found himself unable to extend a greeting. It wasn't that he didn't want to. The immense pressure rendered him speechless. His father issued a chilling threat, asserting that failure to greet him would result in the murder of the maids who had educated Deso. Well aware of his father's cold and heartless nature, which had been demonstrated when his dantian shattered, Deso understood that his father harbored no regard for his own life, focusing solely on martial arts. Unable to bear the thought of his maids dying, Deso nervously greeted his father, an act born out of necessity rather than genuine sentiment. The welcoming banquet was in full swing and everyone was enjoying themselves. Deso's heart still fluttered from the encounter with his father, but he put on a brave face, greeting everyone with a wave and an innocent smile. Spotting his older brothers, he decided to assume the role of the cute and frail younger brother, aiming to avoid drawing unnecessary attention. It would not be wise to make enemies out of them. Blessed with his mother's renowned beauty, Deso was confident in his charm. While his brothers engaged in their battles, he remained resolute in staying out of their conflicts. Once the guests had finished their meals, the servants escorted them out. Though disappointed that they couldn't witness the youngest son's skills, the servants understood that such displays were reserved for members of the clan alone. With the departure of the guests, the tester ordered the servants to bring out the testing equipment. It was now time to evaluate Deso's skills as a direct descendant of the Namgung clan. He would be tested in 3 areas. The first test involved lifting steel balls. Deso effortlessly lifted the first half-kilogram ball, causing the onlookers to marvel. They believed that no one could lift a 100-kilogram ball, yet the eldest son managed 250 kilograms, the second son lifted 200 kilograms, and the third son lifted 150 kilograms. They assumed that Deso would be able to lift at least 100 kilograms without any difficulty. However, the test elder was shocked to witness Deso struggling to lift a mere 50 kilograms, suspecting that he might be fooling around. Deso couldn't have been more pleased with the outcome. Next came the agility test, and Deso continued to display a lack of effort, frequently stumbling and falling off the wooden poles. The elders grew increasingly disappointed, unable to bear watching any longer. From Deso's perspective, things were progressing exactly as planned. Finally, it was time for the key aptitude test. Deso glanced around and noticed his brothers observing him intently. Only his brothers, their aides, and the central figures of the clan remained. Deso intended to demonstrate once and for all that he posed no threat and had no intention of pursuing martial arts. He didn't desire the clan, even if they were willing to offer it to him. The test elder instructed Deso to step forward. Irritated by his seemingly foolish happiness, the elders observed with growing annoyance. Unbeknownst to them, the patriarch watched from the rooftop, silently observing the proceedings. The test elder informed Deso that he was to learn the Great Clear Breathing technique, a secret technique of the clan and the foundation for all their other techniques. Therefore, it was essential for Deso to learn it first. Following the instructions of the test elder, Deso was tasked with circulating his Kai as directed. The test would end once his Kai stabilized his Dantian. Deso contemplated that if he made an earnest attempt, it would be easy, considering he had trained for 20 years in his previous life. However, this time, he intended to purposefully disrupt the flow of his own meridians, causing him to fail the test and be unable to cultivate for the next 4 years. As Deso wailed up with Kai, he followed through with his plan to direct it in the wrong direction, causing immense pain. Suppressing his agony, he couldn't afford to let it show. Otherwise, his intentions to break his meridians in front of the clan would be in vain. His goal was to ruin his meridians so severely that competing for the position of vice-patriarch would be nothing but a distant dream. He decided to tangle up his meridians completely, believing that the Namgung clan's exceptional doctors and elixirs would be able to treat him afterward. The elders detected that something was off. Deso appeared to be in bad condition, and his aura color changed dramatically. After he was done, he smiled, convinced that he had succeeded in making himself bedridden for years. But suddenly, he coughed up blood and fainted to the ground, surrounded by sparks of red ki. His plan seemed to have worked, as the test elder called for a doctor. Unconscious, Deso thought he had executed his plan perfectly. Then, unexpectedly, his father, the patriarch, swooped in and commanded everyone to stop. He rarely interfered in such matters, and his sudden appearance surprised everyone. The second brother speculated that their father must have been watching, and the third brother wondered if their father had taken a liking to Deso. The patriarch held Deso in his arms, instructing the test elder Wanju to call the divine doctor, who was currently drunk and asleep in his room. After arranging for the doctor to be summoned, the patriarch abruptly announced the end of the welcoming ceremony and disappeared. Later, as Deso began to regain consciousness at the first manor, the doctor commented that he never thought he would encounter another monster like the patriarch. He found Deso's recovery remarkable, doubting that he had a heavenly martial constitution. But to his surprise, when Deso fully awoke, he felt no pain. Instead, he felt refreshed and energized, with energy pulsing through his body. The doctor even remarked that if Deso was awake, he should get out of bed already. Deso was astonished, as he believed he had been unconscious for a month or two. The doctor couldn't help but express his disbelief, questioning if a goof like Deso was genuinely the patriarch's son. Deso was taken aback when the doctor casually referred to his father by his first name, a level of informality usually reserved for very close acquaintances. Even the head monk of Shaolin or the headmaster of Wudang sect wouldn't dare address his father in such a way. The doctor attributed Deso's lack of manners to the ways of kids these days, and scolded him for not even thanking his savior. Deso thanked him, though his disappointment was evident, as his carefully crafted plan had been foiled. He was supposed to wake up crippled and use that as a reason to quit martial arts and escape the clan. Now, with his unexpected recovery, it would be much harder to leave. Deso knew he needed a new plan, and he needed one fast. The doctor explained that his recovery was due to his extremely rare and monstrous heavenly constitution his father had, and it was rare that two genius would exist in this world at the same time, which frustrated Deso.